was like the most intense thing I'd ever experienced. Like, it was just like, who is this guy? You know? And it was just hard because he was so different than me.
This was never about the way he strolled into the coffee shop, book bag slung over his shoulder, towering frame and stature. It was never about how instantly or instinctively I pulled out my phone and switched on my front-facing camera, grabbed a couple of napkins from the counter to wipe off residue of lipstick from a previous conversation. I had never felt butterflies quite as quickly. I've also never seen a halo or an angel, but I figured since he was standing right there that there's a first time for everything. It was never about the sweetness of our brief interaction. It was also never about the subtlety of a hint of a foreign accent that I detected when he asked me how long I had lived in the area and mentioned how much it had changed. How he used to live here, but now the birthplace of Biggie is his home, the A-train was more convenient. It was never about how I silently promised myself that I would definitely go to Bed-Stuy now because I finally had a reason. It was never about how he smiled when he talked, that his eyes twinkled and he had dimples and it was cold outside but suddenly I felt hot. It was never about the fact that I thank God that for once I wasn't in a rush, and for my complexion because there was a very good chance that he did not see me blush. But since we're on the subject, I may as well mention what it was actually about. While I was standing there thanking God for my lush pigmentation my body lives in, I was simultaneously melting from staring into his eyes that were the same hue of grayish blue that the sky is when the sun is shining, and his skin, tan, but clearly void of vast amounts of melanin. Before he told me his daddy was Creole and from the South, I figured out that there was something different about him, and it may have built a bridge. But the very essence of his first identifying factor suggests that he was bathed in white privilege, and I felt betrayed by my heart. There he was, tall, dark, and handsome, 6'2", eyes blue, took my very soul for ransom. It's not supposed to be this way. I'm not supposed to be infatuated with a man who looks like this. I'm supposed to want my future family raised by a man they can identify with. I was overcome with the notion of should. Look at me, the epitome of black womanhood, and here I am fawning over this white man in an era where voices shout Black Lives Matter and bodies marching in the street. He started to become the subject of my fantasies, not just sexually, but intellectually, especially after our conversation about gentrification and socioeconomic statuses. I wonder if anyone else has ever met someone that made them simultaneously remember and forget that everyone up to this point has been a huge disappointment, and they've also probably been the same. They say love is love until you're walking down the street hand in hand. Could it withstand the whispers, the looks from both brothers and sisters as if you personally offended them? The eyes that shout you're a sellout when you couldn't find yourself a brother? Would I clap back and say I didn't, I tried, but maybe you should call them up and talk to their mothers? Because the truth is, all my life I've been conditioned to love my own men unconditionally. But where do I draw the line when sometimes I feel little to no reciprocity? Or would I stare back silently with a smile on my face but endure my guilt privately? Would our children be a representation of slavery in the modern day? How could I explain it? What would his family say? Would we be equally yoked, deeply rooted to endure thick and thin? Would we be able to watch Roots without me routinely resenting him? I struggled. We locked eyes. I told him my name. He reached out and extended his hand, and then we went our separate ways. I went home to write this poem, and I never looked back. Dear William, I could have loved you in ways unimaginable. I just wish you were black.
Break it down. Yes, sir. Check. We used to lay up and then stay up, had sex and then blow dank. I shouldn't have played no games with you, just leveled up my rank. Last time I saw you, we ain't speak, that was strange. Guess there's nothing I could do, man, it's true, X has changed, yeah.